up, y'all? Thank you for joining me again on the spot. We got another special episode today, man. I told you, man, you never know who could drop by, man. I got my two boys here with me. I know them from the rap industry. Coming from this industry, we've been through a lot. I've known these dudes for a lot of time. They put in a lot of work. I got my boy Ray here, aka Thought.
Yes, sir.
Got my man's Phil here, aka Philly Blunts. Dig what I'm saying, man. Ray, let them know where you from, man. Let the people know where you from, man. Where you grow up, man. What's your neck of the woods, bro?
Grew up in Wooded, California, about 15 minutes from downtown, up to 605 Junction Functions. Grew up in Wooded my whole life. I'm 41. Was raised at Presbyterian Hospital. Grew up to a middle class family with my mother and my dad. My mom grew up across the street from South Central University. My dad grew up in Pico Rivera. I grew up middle class. I had the best dad in the world. So I mean, I can't complain too much on that end with my parents because they did everything they could for me. But at some point, we had to become my own man. I took the things I learned from school, things I learned from the streets, things I learned from music, and I just applied it to my life. And I used that as an escape plan. But like I said, once before many times, I didn't make it out quite per se, but it could be. I always say it could be better, but it could be worse, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just coming out with you. If you don't know about me, you should, and if you don't, stop hating.
Man, where you from, man? What's your neck of the woods, bro?
From Whittier, right around the corner from Ray. Born in East LA. White Memorial Hospital. Grew up single mother, 4 kids actually, 3 sisters, only son. Good mother. Father wasn't there, but my mom was like my dad. You know what I mean? Taught me the rights and wrongs, prepared me for life. This is all about how I'll make of it. So, well, so far so good. You know what I mean?
Gonna make a change.
How'd y'all meet, man? Like, what's y'all friendship like? Like, where y'all?
Honestly,
yeah, like, give me that story, man. Like,
I knew a little boy for 22. I could say 22 years plus.
Okay.
My memory, the first time I met him is around the time he was DJing at Backyard Party. This is one of the time Whittier was cracking with Backyard. Hit up the pager, get the info, go out there. You know what I mean? Everybody meet up, follow. You know what I mean? Grew up in the page era, but I remember he was DJing. Good. Hip hop music. That's when hip hop was. My heart was genuine. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I still had tracks for the ladies too. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had the R&B hits and all that. And
I had the dance chance.
I remember I believe he didn't have a microphone at the time, and he declared a rap battle, and then so everybody got up, but then he used I think it was a broken earphone as a microphone, right?
Exactly. And
So
it was connected to that piece right there.
Yep. Exactly what we got back there. So anyway,
hip hop unless you actually freestyle and you were doing it through a mic and not just a real mic using the headphones.
Yeah.
To bust the lines into.
Yeah, and it ain't about I ain't throwing shade on how they consider rap battles nowadays because a lot of it's pre-wrote. But this was back in the days when you go up there and you're dissing on what the cat's wearing. You know what I mean? Of what you know personally about them. On the spot type freestyle.
Right.
Off the dome. You know what I mean? So it was
At the time, it was a lot harder because I had just got a job at Ross, so I would stay late at Ross, and then you have to have formal. I'd get out like at 12:31 in the morning and go to the party after, and then you over here trying to battle like, who's this cornball looking like? At the time, I didn't think about it, but I could have flipped that gimmick like being Mr. GQ type, They would come in, they would just start clowning, but like, I mean, it was more fun for me because it's more of a challenge. Like, and I know what you're gonna say, like,
Yeah.
It could have been worse. It was I know something about you.
So like I said, 22 years plus, and he's sitting right next to me, still my boy. You know what I mean? Ride or die.
Make music, do everything together. We used to make mixtapes off the old school karaoke machine in his grandma's garage.
Yeah.
We made mixtapes off real mixtapes, like the old school TDK track. You get recorded. We still have the microphone right there, the karaoke.
I remember when my boy, we just put in. I think it was the Chronic 2001. The CD, it was all instrumentals. We just popped it in, and this was back in the days where you put a little bit of toilet paper inside of the tape, recording over the homie's mom's Kirk Franklin tape. Sorry about that.
Y'all showing y'all age right now.
Hey, you know what? Big ups to LL. I love what LL is doing for the game of hip hop right now because on a simple fact, LL will never notice and no one else will ever notice in my truck. Me and him must have battled over 1 billion times, I guess, whether we were faded, doing just rapping. We battled like 1 billion times over the Doing It Wild beat. I had the single and we used to play the beat.
Oh, yeah.
State of Brothers parking lot.
And we should just go at it for hours on
Bro,
that same
bro,
beat.
that's
Oh,
You were
yeah.
over like doing it and doing that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We ain't doing that.
ultimate classic.
Yeah.
Ultimate classic.
Yeah, but
man.
shout out, big ups to L, man. That was.
I can dig it, man. So, I mean, speaking of L, we again, on the spot, we like to keep it about the culture. You dig what I'm saying? I talk about the difference between the young generation and the generation we grew up in. We grew up with the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Early 2000s to the 90s. We can even go all the way to the early 90s with DOS Effects and all of them kind of, you know what I'm saying? So I'm from
mid 90s to
yeah. I'm all the way, you know what I'm saying? I'm all the way there. Those are all three eras I grew up in, which I consider the greatest eras of music. We'll get into that later, but again, of course not. But like I said, we'll get into that. But the whole thing is like the younger generation feels that we hate on them. We don't like their music. We don't understand. We don't get. We don't rock with them like that. And in my opinion, I believe it's not an understanding between the two. Again, I come from, so I don't think I'm supposed to understand this younger generation. You have sent me countless things to listen to. You'll put me on to a lot of new artists. You'll put me on to a lot of new artists. Corday. We'll talk about Simba. We'll talk about a lot of people that you put me on. I told you I don't listen to anything past 2012.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, we've grown so much.
Yeah, when we linked up. I didn't listen to anything past 2012. I couldn't get a chance, but what's the separation? What do you guys believe is the divide between this new generation and the generation we grew up in? I'll start with you, right? What do you think?
I just think it's the same thing from my parents to your parents. They was listening to their music, and their parents were telling them what about their music. Yeah. It's just the same thing. That's all. It's just the same devils, different levels. You know what I'm saying? I believe it's like that in a sense, but maybe more so now that as time goes on, like there's this newer generation, and I hate to sound like so my age, I'm 41, but this younger generation, they take it to the next level of not giving an F dog from where we were at to a whole new level where it's like now there's just before we were able to make mistakes and learn from them and grow. Now you don't even get the chance to make the mistake, and if you do, it's already too late. And if you do get the mistake and they spot you on it, that's what they're cancel you for.
Right.
Like you're not allowed to grow and make mistakes. That's what you're supposed to do as a human being. You can't do something. I might feel one way about this one year in my life, and then as I get older, and now I feel I'm a lot more emotional and compassionate in my older age, being a father, having a son. Like just no matter what it is, the compassion just comes from the simple fact that I don't really like trying to turn no one off if they need help.
Right.
It's like because one day my son might need that, and I wouldn't want them to turn them away. But then I did have I had a hip hop legacy growing with my boy Israel.
Phil, what you got, man? What do you think is the separation between?
Well, to me, it's where it's like the thing I hear now on the radio, opposed to growing up back, like I said, when hip hop was, to me, you could vibe to a track. Say you're going through something in life, and then it, you know what I mean? It heals you somehow. Like you want to go do something bad, but then you just calm down by listening to one of your favorite tracks. You know what I mean? Instead of going and doing something stupid type, you could relate to the music more. Well, no. That's before. As of now, it's too much. Like they're overdoing it. As of like, I ain't hating on anybody's hustle. Don't get me wrong. It's just the fact is, for instance, you got cats, with straps left and right. You know what I mean? Exposing too much to where it's like, no, but it's to where it's like, all of a sudden they're getting, questioned for murder, and they're with the same strap that in the music video that they, you know what I mean?
I mean, back in the day, and I kind of agree with Phil saying, there was really no social media out there. See, the negativity today gets more play than positivity.
True.
You'll get a nigga, you know what I'm saying? Get somebody who somebody will go viral for shooting up a spot versus spread positivity at the same spot.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's just the world we live in. We live in a negative world. We live in a world where we laugh at people falling and record them versus helping.
Exactly.
And like he was saying, music to me, and this is just a personal opinion, it was more inspirational back then. You had those tracks where you can go to this person if you wanted some positivity. You can go to that person if you wanted to get in a party mood. You can go to this person if you was feeling down.
Think they have that? I think they have that nowadays. It just depends on everyone's going through a different cycle of what they're going through in their life, and at that time, it they want to say Chronic 2001 was one of the greatest, and yes, it is. I'm not saying that it's not, but the body of work that he put together the same year that Chronic dropped, Method Man to Cal 2000 dropped. I think that was an equally fire album, if not better. That's just me, because you see that I got the woo on me, but I mean honestly, when you look back at the way things are from now to today, much hasn't changed. It's just attitude. It's just
Right.
Well, I also think too is
you can tell me like some of the stuff like there's a lot of now when they do that it's too emotional. But,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I blame Three Stacks because Three Stacks birthed Cuddy, and then that's what I think that generation came from with all that emotional. That's cool. I don't hate on it, but like a lot of people hold on to Cuddy like they hold on to Frank Ocean.
Well, I think what it is too is a lot of like said like music from like 20 years plus whatever that we still play today and consider like we were talking about another one day we were over here is what separates the classics from a oldie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Type is to where we're still bumping it 20 years plus. So I don't think the music that we're listening to now in the present day, 20 years from now in the future, are we gonna be bumping it and be like, oh, okay,
But you gotta remember, I think I can say all the time. I really wish that if who could go back in '90s hip hop, just raw lyric. There was no structure. They didn't know how to make a song back then.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what made it the spur of the moment.
When did song really actually come in with pun drop? Biggie, they learned how to make music.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just kicking lyrics, going blah blah blah, blah and who was the dopest at that point. Nowadays, when you look at it, with extent, people know how to like. I mean, they don't do it no more. Like they don't have a roll up, but I mean,
you can listen
the way you do an album is just.
You could listen to Wu-Tang's first album and know that was created in the house.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would love to hear that though in the studio.
Right. But it's so grungy. It's so grungy. It's so dirty.
Yeah.
It's so dirty.
And a lot of people,
Right.
And a lot of people that started off from recording at the house type, they could hear it and they'll know, okay, yeah, that's like a home studio type, as opposed to someone that never recorded and they went straight to the studio and they're like, oh, it's probably a low budget studio and a studio somewhere, but not knowing where exactly it could have been. And you know what I mean?
Russ had bangers when he did his SoundCloud. All the stuff I played Russ in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was saying he'll never go back and do it, but if he could actually go back and remaster his early stuff, man, that thing, chunk status, everything would just sound so much crisp.
Yeah.
So much better.
Oh yeah.
But like nowadays, when the SoundCloud era was dead, but all you needed was a mic and an interface.
That was it.
And you get a deal for the they do. I mean,
that was it.
Anyone that has the dreams of being an aspiring rapper, stop, go to school, figure something out because there is no money in being a rapper.
No, it's not. It's not. So, I mean, we can even piggyback. I'm not even piggybacking off that, but as this new music grows, and it was even in the music back then, one of the things I notice a lot, and I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists, cats out here or anything like that, but it's like the imagery in music today is even more bolder than what it was back then. So, for instance, like I see these demonic images. I see where they're doing stuff. This younger generation is doing things, and I don't know if it's for attention or are they really seriously worshiping the devil out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like what do you believe? Because I heard a song, and I'm gonna just pickpocket off what I hear on the radio. I don't listen to the radio. I told you guys I don't listen to the radio.
Me neither.
You listen to what I play.
Yeah, well, that's the only way.
I haven't listened to radio since like '98, maybe if that. Right?
Yeah. See,
just the artists that I haven't had an ear for, not just like big me up, but all of a sudden, I'm hearing this person or this. I was like, how do you know? I was like, I don't know, man. I was just listening to it. Just you can't hold back someone's talent when they're just that gifted.
But it just to me the radio just doesn't interest me. It just doesn't interest me. So I heard a song, and this artist known as Doja Cat. You guys know her, but I saw I saw an image of her. I want to say 2 days ago, and
is that the one she's just like a spider?
She's a devil. She has herself wrapped in, dressed in the devil's demon costume with the horns. There's a shadow, a silhouette of the devil on the wall. She's walking vertically on the wall. You know what I'm saying? It's just doing all these different demonic things, and I would say that her genre of music or what she does, the age group is from I would say 15 to 35. So one of this is just the hook. This is just the hook of the song. I didn't even give the rest of the song to play. I just listened to the hook, and the hook says, "Yeah, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. Walk on by. I let it all get to my head. I don't care. I paint the town red." Right. So.
Maybe she came by room.
So I break these things down. And when you say you rather be famous instead of what? Right? Famous instead of what? What do you mean you'll do anything to get put on? Do you mean you'll even sacrifice your beliefs, whether you believe in God or not? Do you believe that you would sacrifice what you believe for fame and money and riches? And then you show this type of imagery in your songs and your videos, and it's just getting bolder these days. Do you believe that hip hop, or music in general, has a demonic foundation under it or behind it? I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, behind it, because also, like you say, you have a lot of rappers, talk about the Illuminati, talk about things like that as well, that they're influencing fans out there to, even though, like, say, for instance, she's doing something, you know what I mean, sacrificing whatever, or not, either way, they're going to take it serious as she is. And if they want to be just like her, they're going to go and follow her footsteps and actually do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like kind of misleading if she's not really doing it. Either way, they lose because they're going to follow in her footsteps.
Right.
So that's why I think it influences a lot.
It becomes a problem because you have a following.
Yeah, and it's especially a big following too. I think, you know what I mean? I heard from my nieces, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They be into that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's to the point where I see the way they act and then the way they dress. It has a lot of influence from who they listen to. And you know what I mean? Because they be asking me questions too sometimes, and it's like I really don't have the answer for it because I don't follow things like that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just to the point where I just choose not to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not weak minded to where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do what she's doing. Nah, you know what I mean? It just. But a lot of people. Well, no. I'm just saying it's just to where a lot of people are weak minded to where they're followers, not leaders. They're gonna do as monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So, but it's just to the point where it's just a lot of influence out there, that there's a lot of good influence and there's a lot of bad influence. But I think the bad influence over trumps the good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So bars.
Over Trump.
Oh,
he's over gems now. Huh?
So that's my belief.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on demon? What are your thoughts on the industry and
the industry as far as the creativity goes? I mean, you could say old school Ludacris and Missy videos are demonic.
In what way?
I mean, I remember I Can't Stand the Rain when she came out with the black dress, but that was a little bit spooky.
So like it was a lot more subliminals.
No,
messages,
that's subliminal. When you look at that, could be seen as demonic, but like it was, to me, it was spooky. Dude, what was the Michael Jackson Moonwalker? Remember the Michael Jackson Moonwalker? Mm-hmm. Do you remember how Michael looked in that movie when he came out like in the clay and then he was like the robot and he transformed?
Oh, when he was doing his whole
and they did the claymation
all
in the
his
movie.
Videos in one movie.
It was pretty scary, man.
Like, some AI type shit.
As a kid, when you look at it, it was pretty scary. Dude.
Yeah, Moonwalker was the shit, but it had like
it had about it, right? When he ran with the rabbit,
right, yeah. Speed Demon when he was on Speed Demon, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was, yeah. So
it can go back to that. There's a lot. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't put too much in it, but people just.
I think people do it. And to me personally, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think
it's a little bit of both.
People with money get bored, right?
Yeah, I mean, they may not even necessarily get bored. I think they do it because, like we said, anything negativity sells today.
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody falling on the ground, busting their whole face, their whole shit open, the world is gonna look at it, laugh, record, versus helping this person.
Exactly.
You dig what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's never gonna be on no positive shit. It will always be on some negative. So whether it's good or bad, they'll do it. Now, do I believe some of them actually do? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pop. You know what I'm saying? It's the pop culture. It's different things that these people get into, and there's different things that these people have to do to get put on. We've heard the stories. We know about it. It's something that's we know the stories.
Yeah,
we've heard about them.
Yeah,
we've heard about them. We know about them. Right. So there's really no ignoring it. So you can't say that there is not. But I can't say everybody does. You know what I'm saying? I can't say everybody does.
But boy, we know this. We both know this. Anyone that says it's this Illuminati, they sold us all. Nah, that's just because they didn't have the heart, put in the hard work. Not to say I didn't or you didn't.
Mhm.
Certain things just come up in life, but they just didn't have that hard work.
Well, here's my thing. And this is going to lead to the next topic. Now we talk about the Illuminati. Per se, I don't know if there's an actual cult. I don't know if there's an actual place that you go to do these certain rituals. Although I have heard stories,
You go to
I
Catholic
can
church on
neither
Sundays.
deny nor confirm that these are correct nor real stories.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to deny nor confirm. However,
Beautiful.
I don't think you need to be in a cult or an actual cult or do an actual ritual to
Have success and make it.
to have success and make it. There's other successful people. There's other
Yeah, everyone has a different term of success.
yes,
nowadays,
successful
so.
stories. But to a certain extent, there are people out here who do these
Yeah.
types of things, and they do have a following.
Major
At
record
the,
labels.
at the end of the day, they do have a following, and it goes into, I believe when they say selling your soul, I don't necessarily mean is you sign on a paper. I think selling your soul is going against what you know is right and what you know is wrong, what you were taught, what your
Metaphor
mama taught you, what your
speaking, yeah.
daddy taught you, what you were brought up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't think it's necessarily being like, we're gonna come here, you cut you open, this is a sacrifice. I don't think that's
Nah.
the definition
No,
of sacrifice, and even though it may be
They say that-
to a certain extent to the industry or to whoever's in it.
The studio
I don't think it's that.
already
Yeah.
Like
I think selling your soul is getting out of and doing things that are out of your moral code.
Sometimes.
To my thing. So we get into this era of music where I believe where we get into this era of, like, you coined the term porn rap.
Mhm.
Porn rap.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. It's porn rap. And when we hear porn rap, and this is people, this is, mind you, I didn't come up with this term. Ray came up with this term right here. And when he brought this out to me, I thought it was very interesting because, I asked him a couple weeks ago, I'm like, dude, like, what is it about this new music, especially females that we have in the industry, that feel like they have to describe every single part of their body in order to get put on, to get a listen, to get this, to get that. And it's funny because I asked my wife, I said, okay, when you get into this kind of stuff that these women talk about, right? They talk about their ass, and they talk about, what they lady part do. They talk about what they, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They get into to really describing, the scientific, the science of you know what I'm saying, of what they do. But, and I asked her, I said, but who's buying this music? Because if a dude was talking about, you know what I'm saying, and but some of them do. We listen to it as guys because it's like we kind of relate to the issue. But at the end of the day, who buys this type of music? And I asked her, and she says, well, the girls buy it.
Yeah.
The dudes buy it for the girls. The dudes want to screw them, and the girls want to listen to them. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Meet you at the club and buy you drinks.
Right. So when you listen to, you know what I'm saying, like a Sexy Red out here, I hear her, you know what I'm saying.
I think.
And
Walt
I'm not
was a
gonna.
bang. I like. Walt. I thought Walt was a banger.
Terrible. I mean, I'm not.
I'm
To
biased
me-
because
to
I'm
me-
biased 'cause I like the video.
Yeah, but how did we get here? How did we get to this era of porn rap to where it's okay to describe your
Your insides.
your
and,
insides scientifically
Yeah,
wise.
they go off.
Yeah, they go off. You
They
dig what I'm saying? So-
do orgasmic as opposed to when a man would be like, they just busting. They go orgasmic in the
Right. So how did we get here? Like,
Well-
where did this start?
Well, I think it's because a lot of male rappers, they be talking about how they be hitting girls, tapping it, you know what I mean, doing whatever with them and all that, and so they probably feel, oh well, we equal to them, so you know what I mean. Might as well us speak from our point of view, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
If we basically like you talking about me. Well, let me show you how the right way to say it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's the wrong way because, like I said, they're exposing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, is it taking their power back? Do you believe? Do
We-
you believe if I can say it, then let them say it in a better way so that it can profit them, and then they can basically beat us to the punch. Of saying what we do to them versus
Yeah.
what they do to us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
it's kind of like that, kind of like the 8 Mile B Rabbit, Papa Doc. You know, he makes fun of
He's gonna
himself.
beat me to the punch.
Yeah, and then you ain't got nothing else to say. So
yeah. I am a bum. I do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right.
So I think it is.
I do live in a trailer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it is. They taking the power back, but it's in the wrong way though. I think there's other ways of doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know what I mean? I don't want to seem like it just focus more on them. It's just anybody. You know what I mean? There's right ways of doing things and wrong ways. But like I said, they're about money, so whatever sells, sex sells.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's been like that even without rap. It's just out in the world too as well. You know, but besides music, you know.
Hey, no, I'm watching from DJ Quick. You know, it
goes back to the Lil Kim days.
Her babies.
She's a trendsetter of porn rap. Lil Kim.
Yeah.
Well, Biggie. Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. She's the one that you know. Yeah, exactly.
So when you look back at it with music, it's like the weird part is it's like how COVID area. It's just weird. Whoever planned it out, they planned it out perfect the way they wanted it to go, right?
Right.
But whoever planned this out, it's weird because let's just say they're barely getting into the porn right now. Male rappers have been doing that since ancient times, since it first started, right? So now that they're doing it, you're asking who's buying the music. I think you always have the interest in the women, right? Women keep people and they keep artists employed because I don't know. Is it more? We'll get that later, but like a male thing where they don't feel comfortable buying. I don't. If it's banging, you can take my money. I will bump it. But the thing is, now that they're catching up to it, that the record labels want to push how sex sells. That's why it's more to an extreme because guys have been saying it forever, correct? But now you can do more open on. I guess I guess there's certain words you can cuss now. And the videos, when they show the video, I mean, we don't even show music videos no more, so I don't even know what I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe on YouTube, I mean,
yeah.
But like them catching up, we had this conversations like, but I won't listen to this. There's maybe 4 female rappers, and they just brought it up. Yeah, I know the product. I think Nicki bangs. Cardi will spit good when someone writes it for her. I don't know what she's wrote. I mean, I don't know personally, but that's what I'm saying. As I've seen it, Know the Product to me has been one of the top female MCs for like the past 5 years. There's this new girl coming up from Port. Her name's Win. This girl is disgusting.
Banging.
No filler. Her bars are just on.
Banging.
She had Heather B when she reached out and Sway in the morning like last month. Heather was like, "You made me say, yeah." Like, and I made a playlist for her. Now she's doing like a little bit more sexy in her raps, like exposing her body, because now she's trying maybe sacrifice her morals, but she wants to get played.
But again, like you said, sacrificing your morals. Now you had the Queen Latifahs, the Moni Loves. You had the female artist MC Lights. You had those artists back then. They didn't have to do this kind of stuff that they do today to be put on.
Exactly.
To say behind the badge of the desk at the label that they weren't getting touched, they weren't being put.
Okay, but we're talking about what
that's out there.
What I can. We're talking about what I can see. You dig what I'm saying? I can't never say whatever happened behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All I can talk about is visually.
Is what you're seeing.
What I see. So you have new artists like you have the Mickeys out here. You have the Sexy Reds. You have the Cardis. You have that, and then you have artists like Rapsody.
Forget me. Rapsy's fire.
Rapsy's disgusting. She's disgusting fire, bro. Like, but she won't get heard. They'll listen to, and this is no offense on these types of artists, but they'll listen to a Cardi. They'll listen to a Nicki. They'll listen to now, mind you, Nicki's bars back in the day when I used to hear Nicki back in the day, man.
Yeah, hunger.
Man, I'm telling you, man, like there was something different about that chick, man.
That was back when Walker's mom was manager.
Yeah, Miss Dead, man.
A lot of people kind of sleep.
There was a lot of hunger.
Yeah, but a lot of people are sleeping on the lyrics, but then now they're more focused on the sexy that she's bringing. So now it's more that's what's selling. Like it's taken away from the lyric wise when they're going for that that sexy appealing. You know what I mean?
Do it because one, I don't know how old
she's got
a kid.
For sure. Yeah.
But do you see how much of, and this is exposing society, do you see how much of a visual society a visual society people are versus versus analytical versus actually listening to somebody and hearing them, because
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
actually look at somebody and be able to determine who they are versus listening to them. You dig what I'm saying? Like you listen to a Nicki, and by the way, how she dresses and how, well, not, I'm not even picking on her, but just artists, the female artists in
Jamaica
general
Queen
today,
Nicki
like
or
it's just
now
artists,
Nicki?
yeah, just artists in general today.
Yeah.
Like, why does it take you showing your ass off? Why does it take you showing this versus bars? Like, where did it go from then to now? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm
It is.
getting to.
It goes back to the
Right.
influence because, like I said, like even without them on the music side and not the music side, like the Kardashians, like back in our days, we didn't have fake butts. We didn't have the see people with Botox everywhere. Nowadays, people are trying to go and be like them because they think that that's what a woman's supposed to look like.
Right.
But it's not. It's like what I mean. It's all
What's
inner
gender?
beauty.
What's gender?
It's
Give
all
me something.
personality.
What's
Yeah.
Right.
But you get what I'm saying. So especially for the young women out there, as a father of a 11-year-old daughter, I try to teach her that what I mean. Just you be you. Don't be influenced by anything else out there. But
How about
you influence yourself. You know what I mean. You don't need you have to have respect for yourself, and then become a trendsetter yourself. You know what I mean. Just
Right.
you know what I mean. Just never don't be a follower. Always be a leader. You know what I mean.
at the end of the day, how about this? When you look at women that rap, this is just the honest answer. We've had this conversation before. But can you honestly sit there and say, other than being sexy, because I have needs, I was, I see some things in it might be more interesting because if the artist is interesting and there's nothing relatable to it, then I might fall back. Like, oh, she's hot. I used to like Meg. The whole thing happened with her. I'm reserved on that. I have my feelings for the day and the topic. But when you sit there and you look back at it as a whole, I mean, when you go through your phone, I bet you we can't find no more than 5 female artists in there. And your phone and your music, maybe in each one maybe has no more than 2 songs probably, right? And you can't. I don't. Like, it's not bigging me up. I can't because I don't. That's just me. I don't care if you're from China and you have a bowl of rice and you got down. If it's hot, I grew up thinking, knowing Todd that hip hop is hip hop no matter where it's from. If it's hot, you can't deny it.
And as a hip hop artist, you know what I mean. You guys probably could agree. I'm more of the lyric wise or her talent, not the way she looks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know there's a lot of people like I people that heavy set, but they be rapping and they ill as fuck, and it doesn't what I mean, female and male, and I don't go and be like, oh no, she's whack, well, because the way she looks. No, it's like she's tight as fuck. You know what I mean? Oh, excuse my language, but
I mean,
it just
but we can even go back to Lil Kim. Look at Lil Kim. Lil Kim was, I'll tell you, even though if Biggie was writing her lyrics, whatever,
Yeah,
she sold them. I don't
Oh, yeah.
care.
just the Cardi thing.
Yeah. I don't care. Just, I mean, hard though. You dig what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
she would get in with dudes. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Not
she
an
can
artist,
hang-
but an entertainer.
yeah. She can hang with the dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I believe like these partially are her babies, but at the end of the day, I just, when we go back to that whole what separates the old music from the new music, it's nothing that inspires me. It's nothing that you can listen to and be like, I can listen to a whole Lil Kim album now by myself without my old lady. You know what I'm saying? Like I can.
You dumped the Sweetie or Swati. What's saying you told wife you got the album, the Sweetie or the Saudi Swati, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And you bumped that one. You said that one was pretty cool.
It wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was cool,
It
but
was a good one. A run through for one play.
yeah, it's cool for one through. But again, there's certain female lyricists I can listen to when I'm driving by myself versus who I won't.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's not that many of us that are actually like real,
right,
like real hip hop heads that want you just stir for. Sometimes I want to. I want to be orchestrated music.
I want that repeat music, meaning that
exactly.
you could let me hear that one more time, bring it back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. People aren't around and you get your vibe.
Oh yeah.
In front of you.
Oh yeah.
I remember telling you last night. What was the bumper? It was bumper. Forgot what track by Drake. Where I go. Oh no, it was the 99 Neighbors, and the guy came out singing. He was talking about what's going on in life, but it doesn't sound like what we're going through.
Yeah.
I go, now when these other people that you're not around, I go, don't you feel better to record? Think about how many times we were going to record, and they were there just running in. And I'm talking, we're talking about your feelings, and I'm like, nah, let me do me. Like you do you. You stay over there stuck in the 90s. I'm gonna keep going through. Like you get back in your DeLorean. I'm gonna keep going, driving through, like to move forward and push the culture forward. Right. Not. I mean, you gotta evolve, right? That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So what's kind of going back to the music wise, what do you think is the difference between a lyricist and a rapper? and we'll start with you, and then I'll have you describe who your lyricists versus rappers are, and we'll start with you, Phil. Like,
Well, lyricists to me, for instance, I think one of the best lyricists that I started off listening to was the old school Chino XL. He's the definition of a lyricist to me. If you guys, it's I think it was 90. Well, I'm talking about in that era. It was in the mid 90s. It came out. When it came out album, every track was a banger. Especially number 4, track 4 on there is called Nunca. Woo!
yeah,
He's all let me see if I know. Let me see. He goes, they don't worship Christ, they worship the thieves crucified next to him. Like he got, he got
I got them bars. Like,
he's
he's coming with the
oh yeah.
and wordplay. For
Yeah.
sure.
And then there's a lot of people to where it's like when you separate lyricism from rap, it's like anybody could put a bunch of words together and rap on some Dr. Seuss type, situation, but lyrics is they speak with their lyrics, you know what I mean? Like you feel it, sometimes you actually feel like you're there when they're speaking upon whatever situation and they're rapping about, and then you got the chill type music, you know what I mean? That you're like, ooh, and like I said, repeat music, you know, stuck on repeat. I mean, from here, I get home in 15 minutes. I'm gonna stick on repeat till I get home, type.
I'm going through a draw so I can skinny.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I think it's pretty simple to me. Between a rapper and a lyricist, I think a lyricist is what it is, a lyricist, and I think a rapper is a gimmick. I think the rapper is sent here to play the role of a gimmick.
Yeah.
No. I mean, again, we have the differences, but you know what I'm saying? But
I mean, Cube's both. I think Cube was a rapper and a lyricist. I know Cube.
You talking about his whole career? You talking about the beginning, NWA?
Are we talking about
NWA Cube?
He was trying to get generational. Are we there yet? But prior to that, when he was coming out with No Vaseline back in NWA, he was rapping and spitting. And like, I don't know, maybe just me personally, you could just know when it's lyrics. When you hear that, I don't gotta explain it. You could just feel that, like oh my god.
I think Cube definitely.
The ugly face, like. What?
Yeah, I think definitely Cube is one of the most prolific artists that has ever stood the test of time in music. He came in an era where he made gangster rap. There was, but you did have the ones out there. People don't really listen to them. People don't really. Okay, I'm gonna throw one at you. That people really before there was NWA, there was Rodney O and Joe Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're talking about before. Yeah, we you know what I'm saying? And there.
I was old enough to go pick up the
right. So that's what I'm saying. That to me. So when we talk about who influenced a whole generation of gangsters and things like that, you do have to give it up to the pioneers. But when we talk about Cube made gangster rap cool.
Yeah.
He
made it cool. He wrote for every single person. Yeah. Did he write for Ren? Did he write for MC Ren?
No.
Ren did his own rap.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Ren, but he wrote for Easy.
Yeah. I think they're both the two ghostwriters, right?
Yeah. I know DOC did his own.
Yeah.
DOC is the biggest what ifs in West Coast music history, if you ask me.
Yep.
Before he lost his voice. But Ren,
He used to hang out with Ren. He used to hang with King T. Like back, he was hanging out with some lyricists, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting away, but he was like, I don't know. I don't bag and boast too much about West Coast hip hop because it's always rap on the West Coast.
Mind you, people, let me stop this man. Okay, this is the only man I know right here from California who believe he in New York. He believe from like Staten Island or some shit.
Well, and our boy DB also too. Pero the bodega,
right down the corner.
The first time I met this nigga, he called me son. I'm like, oh, what? Like, bro, you in Cali, bro? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
It could have been done.
I mean, so to you, what's the difference between a lyricist and a rapper?
The rapper, I think rappers make better songs than lyricists.
Okay.
But they're more structured and studio as opposed to a lyricist. They're practicing sharpening. They were doing freestyling and ciphering. Just what they teach. Like that's how Big got good at first point. They all sharpen their tools like that. But I used to freestyle all the time. I feel myself when
And
I
that's
got,
when it was on the top of the head. That was on the
Right.
top of the
I
head.
feel like when I got good with my pen game, when I was able to start writing, I stopped freestyling because I didn't. He's the one freestyling. No, you try to get me. I can't do it because the fact that I feel like it's a disservice that maybe I'm rapping and I'm grabbing the same words in my head
Right.
that I wrote down up here, and I don't want to spit something and be like, "Oh, that's how some of the best come off." Is, "Oh, you wrote that."
Right.
No, but you're harnessing the same energy with the same words that are in your head, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard not to do it.
Yeah.
But when I got good with the pen, I think I write some pretty.
Oh, yeah.
If I could ghostwrite, get in the room, I've tried. I haven't where it wasn't successful. Even if I was, I shouldn't be talking about it. But that's another thing.
No, you stepped your
But-
game up.
This is just the pen is like. I mean, you catch me like this, on,
Right.
like a feather pen. Like ink, just a rapper just makes good music.
Give me an artist.
Look at Ross. I can't
Give
stand
me
Rick
who's
Ross.
a rapper and who's a lyricist.
Rick Ross is a gimmick. He got slow up by 50, but I mean,
Okay.
you can rap, man. Like, and
Okay.
that was when it was okay to forgive people for being like lying about the ish, right? That's where it stemmed from.
It's a gimmick. It's a
Yeah,
gimmick.
and
Yeah.
you know, it's like a wrestling. It's like wrestling too, but you gotta have a gimmick because you gotta be, you know, what's the
Mhm.
eye opening for these people?
Mhm.
Like, what are you gonna do that makes you stand out, right? I mean, when I look at it, like, I think Biggie to me is one of the greatest of all time.
Lyricist.
Lyricist, yeah, because there's other stuff that he has out there that as before when he got good at making music. When Diddy got in the studio, and he started working with certain, like when he was working with Clark Kent. There's a whole bunch of people that he worked with. The lyricist, him, I said the other day, I think Big Al, success. He didn't have a big success rate with his music.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sounded too outdated in the area he was coming out with. He set the standard for freestyle radio, even though it wasn't freestyle.
Ahead of his time.
He was way ahead of his time. But some of the stuff he was saying was just, to me, it was mind-boggling. The stuff that he would come out with, you would just hear it. I was like,
Right.
wow. I mean, him and sorry, we know this one. We all know who the GOAT is now. Is that Mr. Jermaine Cole?
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to argue that, we're gonna have to go down the track. You can say Kendrick and all. I mean, it's
Well,
just,
okay. So I heard you say Big L. You didn't mention Pac as a lyricist.
well, there we go. Man.
You didn't mention Pac as a lyricist.
So do you have beer? Because I think I might need a
I
beer.
have. Yeah.
I might need a truly now.
What you need?
I
You don't. You.
I'm not a Pac hater.
We've gone over this. We've gone over this before, and somehow you don't believe Pac is a lyricist. Can you like
certain things that I seen once I saw the documentary that they just put out? And
which one? There's about 50,000 of them.
The
Which
one that
one?
they
You
just
talking
put on FX?
Dear Mama.
I didn't even give that one a chance.
No, you really need to.
I haven't watched it yet.
Now that changed my whole perspective. I never badmouth Pac, but you won't ever catch me like saying nothing bad after watching that. The struggle that he went through compared to him and his mom, and I saw the lyrics in him when he was in the shoe, and his mom had the team that gave the rhymes to M. He wrote when he was in the shoe. The stuff that he was writing was like those were lyrics. I was like, wow, I never heard it. I mean, Pac came up in the air for me when Suge capitalized on it was rhyming itch, snitch. You're like that to me is not lyrics, but it's rhyming. But since a young age, we're taught A, B, C. It's got to be melodic, right? So it's easy to get into. It's easy to like, you know. But Pac said some cool stuff. Some things that might detach you here. I mean,
how could you not though? I mean, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like what? I think I can't name one bad Pac song that and again.
I really love the Machiavelli project. That's the best
y'all already know, like I told you from the beginning, I'm not here to change nobody. They're not here to change me, but we're here to talk about the shit. You dig what I'm saying? We're here to this is what we're here for. This is what this is about. This is arguing the culture. This is our culture. This is what we're about. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by like when I hear people because there's two different kinds of people, I believe. There's people who listen to Pac when he was here, and there's people who listen to Pac after he was gone. Okay. Now,
which one of those do you think I am?
Okay. Me personally, I got to know Pac on a lyrical level after his death. When Pac died, it was 96. I was like maybe 8, 9 around the time. But I knew I Get Around. I knew the radio tracks. I knew, you know what I'm saying? I knew Pac. I had, you know what I'm saying? I heard, you know what I'm saying? Like, Machiavelli, and I heard,
That's a great album.
yeah, and I heard, I heard it. You know what I'm saying? Tupacalypse.
Yeah.
I remember the album cover. You remember the album cover when he had
The green and
Yeah,
he said,
yeah,
my uncle,
yeah.
I don't know why. For
Yeah.
that year the album came out, my uncle got it for me for Christmas, and I opened it and I was like, "What's this?" He goes,
Yeah.
"I wanted Sam Goody," and I asked him
Yeah.
what's the kind of stuff that kids your age like, and he recommended this. I was like, "Oh, okay," like, and I heard it, but it was not like where I was at. I was like,
right.
I'm like, man, plus my uncle bought me, and my mom hated it.
Right,
My
but you
mom
heard Brenda's got a
hated it.
baby. You
Yeah.
heard, I heard Brenda's got a baby. I
Yeah.
heard. So
You know, Brenda got babies. Babies got babies now. Yeah.
But when you hear this stuff, like I heard it, and again, it became more of a relatable thing as I got older.
Yeah, and we got more wiser.
When we
Society
go back, like I said, and this kind of goes tie into what we said earlier, it becomes an influential era that we went through.
Mm.
This new era of music is not influential to me. I didn't say it wasn't influential.
Mhm.
It's not influential to me.
The younger mind.
You dig what I'm saying?
They're like
Yeah.
shiny things.
So, given that, when we go and we sit back and we talk about these eras of music, I believe that Pac era was a timeless era because off of what he did at such an early age. I mean, this dude was 25 years old when he
Yeah,
passed away.
yeah, that's true.
Think about what an average 25-year-old is right now.
And what they accomplished in their
What
life.
have they
up to-
accomplished in their life?
yeah,
Pac had shot at the police by 25.
Hmm.
He'd been jailed by 3-4 times by 25.
yeah.
He done created 3 and 4 albums by 25. He went on tours before 25. You know what I'm saying?
He
So,
got shot and he survived the first time.
Shot. Excuse me. He got shot.
I'm not
he
with the
survived.
bipolar thing. That's all. I don't. The whole him being bipolar, but I don't judge him after watching the documentary. But that's like me, like my baby mom, like the bipolar. 1 minute you're high, 1 minute you're not. I don't like.
I mean, he kind of had 2 personalities. He was Jekyll and Hyde. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
why I'm not
Like,
with that.
he's
I
Jekyll
don't-
and Hyde.
I don't-
I want to say
Yeah.
what was his birthday? He's a Gemini. I want to say. Was he Gemini?
Was he?
I don't do the astrology.
I don't remember thing. I
We already know
don't
about
quote
that
me.
zodiac
Yeah,
shit.
don't quote me.
No, well, before we get up to the subject, I think to me, Tupac was a lyrical storyteller.
Absolutely.
He was. It was a 50-50 because if he wasn't storytelling, he was, like I said, the lyrics, lyrical. Because there's a lot, like I said before in the interview, that you can actually picture what he's saying when he's
Yeah.
rapping. You know what I mean? That's me. Like I consider it like vision rap. You know what I mean? It's to the point where you could be like, you close your eyes or even with your eyes open, and you can feel it, like you're right next to him while he was
Right.
spitting it. And when he went through it, that's the thing that touches you. You know.
I think Big did it very well.
Well, no, Big did it too. You know,
Big
he did it. He did it too.
Big did it on some cool like
Being
Big.
heavy,
Big,
yeah.
yeah. Big spoke on being a fat, ugly.
I don't know. It was ugly. That's not my.
But
thing.
that's the same.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. Like he
He pointed out the
he
obvious.
pointed out of being a
Yeah,
big fat dude that got chicks.
yeah,
You dig what
and
I'm
he was
saying?
proud of it.
And who did that before Biggie? Let's give him his props. Heavy D.
Mhm.
Heavy D did that.
They haven't
way
given
before
Heavy D
Biggie.
no
They
love
don't give
this
Heavy
shit.
D props nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. Big overweight lover. We don't talk about Heavy D enough. But when we go
Okay, I
back,
think that's Drake's strange father.
yeah. But when we go back, when we talk about Pac, you hear these lyrics and that you can imagine what this man is saying.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I see no changes.
and you can relate
Every
to
day
it.
I wake up and I ask myself, it's like
Like
worth living. Should I blast myself?
That's the most common one, but see the one that I like, really remember the one I told you I was playing with Akon. You ever heard the joint they did with Akon?
The split, yeah.
And Pop was talking about getting molested when he was a little boy.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I never told you it was all about when the uncle used to touch me. And then I was like, that to me was unreal. I was like, oh, he got open. I go, that didn't get a lot of like.
But I'm just
recognition.
talking. I mean, I can go on and on about Pac.
Yeah.
I can pull all kind of lyrics out, but I'm just talking about the one that's common that people would actually know.
Really, yeah, really.
know,
too.
That to me, the ones that they don't know is the best. Like I think I dig the Akon track so much for him to do that at a time when no one was talking. He was talking about getting
Right.
molested as a child.
Yeah.
And plus that F50 pop turned him into 49ers. That was a ball.
And then
That was
yeah,
fire.
and like I said, there's a lot of people that could relate to Tupac to what he was going through too as well. You know.
That helped a lot of people listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, a lot of people have slept on it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
People lie about that just to get a fan base.
Exactly.
People know him now more than they did back then.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people they have listened to Tupac, like you had said, more, paying
Now.
attention now that he had
Right,
passed
right.
away, rest in peace, as opposed to him when he was actually on Earth doing his thing.
And they do the same to my man's back there, Nip Hustle. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They do the same thing to
Yeah.
Nip Hustle. I'm one of those fans. I'll be one of those fans. I was listening to him since. Yeah, I actually was. I actually was. You know what I'm saying?
That's my art. That was my
Right,
art.
yeah. I listened to him. I've seen him hustle his way from, you know what I'm saying, from where he was to where he got to. You know what I'm saying, before he got to see his demise, man. And I always say rest in peace to our fallen artists. Pac. The
He's
Nips
one that
out
worked
there.
on his craft, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and there's a lot of people like Big. His album came out after he passed away, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Second one.
And then I think too, it's to where a rapper that's deceased no longer with us here on Earth, if they can still sell music when they're not here, that's a good. To me, that's one of the
When
greatest
Big
of all
dropped that
time. To
album,
me, I
and
seem
he
like
did the track. He's like, "This is I'm the greatest." He
Yeah.
said, "I am the greatest." After finishing up that album, I saw a cool documentary. He said, "I'm the greatest" after this album. And then he died right after.
while that's being
Here's my
blunt.
thing, though. Here's my thing, though. And I don't mean to cut you guys off.
No.
Here's my thing. When they and I rock with Big all day. Big is one of
Yeah.
my favorite.
Oh yeah.
My favorite, one of the best MCs
Yep.
out there, and you know what I'm saying. One of the greatest MCs that ever did it. But Big only had 2 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. One was a double album.
Mhm.
He only had 2 albums.
Yeah,
He
that's
had
true.
the features. He had the total. He had the majors.
Yeah.
He had, ooh, him.
He only had 2 albums.
To-
How can you call it? How do they put him up there with the Pox? With how do you put him? It's not, you can't just say because he died at a young age.
Yeah.
He's up there with Pac.
You're putting
You
out
can't
Rock
say
100
that.
energy right
No,
now.
I'm not. No. It's not that.
I
It's
love
not
you,
that. No, it's not even that. It's just he only had. I mean, I'm speaking facts. He only had
No,
2
that's
Big
true.
Pun
albums.
wasn't the greatest.
Who?
Big Pun.
Big Pun.
Yeah.
Big Pun was the shit. Big Pun was the shit.
Big Pun
What do you
I
mean?
mean, Big Pun-
Categorizing as
Yeah,
one of the
album,
greatest.
though, but Big Pun
Yeah.
had one album too, though.
Yeah.
But and that 90 stretch in 94, when there was a time where I could say him and Prodigy were like going at it for best rapper,
Right.
MC, should I say, at the time. But Pun's like this, the ability where they were making, I look at it as the ability where they were making music and where the lyrical skills at, and not having to dumb it down. But if you're gonna come along on this journey, you're gonna learn a few things with me, and not dumbing their music down where they can still keep the lyricism, they can still be fly, they can do a whole bunch of stuff and bring the casual hip hop fan along with them, and then becoming fans. I mean, there's a lot in the pre-era '90s where there wasn't a lot of white kids per se, but more multiculturals listened to it because the white kid era didn't get big into Eminem. And then those
Yeah.
kids grow up and then they gotta move out and they gotta go to college and they stop listening to rap, like that's the whole thing. But I mean, it's because you why because Pac had like 8 albums, but like this fan numbers game. Who sold more and all?
Okay.
You wanna do that?
Let me ask you this: if both of you, if Pac and Biggie were still alive and they didn't meet their demise, they didn't pass away, you think they would? How long more after that? You think they would have still been in the rap game making albums?
I don't think Pac would have been rapping.
No. You think he would have still had like for instance like Dre, he started just focusing on producing after rapping. You think he would be mixed
I think Pac would have been more in the movies.
in the movies? And what about like less of the music?
Because versus the music. I think he probably would have poked his head in and out.
Okay.
Indirecting,
You know what I'm
he
saying?
looked like he was
Right.
scared. He got the
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
What-
he probably would have poked his head in and out.
What about Biggie?
Biggie would have just Biggie would have kept rapping the day he died. There was no
Right.
air in
Okay.
his lungs. He was doing that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
Biggie, I don't know. I mean, if they were still alive today, there would be a lot of rappers in the game that aren't here.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Okay.
there would be. I honestly think Jay-Z would have had the success that he had. With that maybe there's no Drake. There's a whole lot of things that it's like a ripple in time when you when you skip a rock in the lake, kind of like that.
All right.
Right.
One little thing could mess up that ripple in that lake, and then it could be something totally else. But it had to
Right.
play out that way because, like I said, Jermaine Cole is the greatest. No one's stopping him. I'm waiting for the next album. He might retire, whatever. Then he
Right.
get bored. Dude, look at Jay. You know why Biggie was still rapping? Because Jay-Z came out with the 444 album. He showed everyone how I can be old, I can rap, and you can still want to listen to me. I'm relatable. I cheated on my wife. That was Ho always just like. That's why Jermaine is like to me like better than him, but like right behind because they haven't. I don't even think they reached a magnum opus. Everything they put out just seems to top their last album. Whatever they do, they top their last project. Jay-Z hasn't put it out before. We know 444 is a bang.
Right.
Plus the way he put it together was like a little mini
course.
movie there. I thought it was just so bang because who's to sit there and say hip hop act your age? I don't know how am I supposed to act? I've never been this age before. They got Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger like 80 something. And he's doing stage, like, doing stage. Like, why is it okay to say people like I can't rap on stage and have people come see me?
True.
That's I think that whole thing stems. Like, I hated that, but people saw their catalogs a lot quicker because they don't want to tour anymore.
Right.
But I mean, how was Mick Jagger still doing all that? Like, I will catch people probably would do performances, but
right.
Hogan beats out the Coliseum or Rose Bowl every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I would like to go see. I've never seen Hogan live. I would love to take him before I die on the bucket list to go see Encore. And you see him in the gospel like with the white letters and we can't sing, but damn. No one would know that. Who was in the truck playing it? Who was in the high notes?
Oh, you're a fool.
I definitely can dig it. I'm gonna switch subject on you guys for a minute. I'm a big advocate when it comes to mental health. I'm a big advocate when it comes to mental health for men, especially. And we can even go even down to minority men because we are not really a being that's paid attention to when it comes to mental health. We are providers. We are sent out into the world to work, to provide for our families, and carry the world on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that I always ask my guests, especially the fellas who come through, is why do you feel like we have to internalize things as men? Like, for instance, why do you feel like we have to internalize things like feelings, like different things that we go through in life? Why are we taught that we gotta hold this shit in? You know what I'm saying? And I'll start with you.
Actually, growing up, family members as well, men in my family, are you're not supposed to show emotion. Like you're not. It's more of a pride thing. It's more of like it was more of a raised old school type. Like you don't want to air out your dirty laundry, so to speak, out there. You don't want people to think less of you, to think different of you, because it was all about appearance and the way you carry yourself. So growing up, to me, I grew up way too late. I mean, too early. Sorry. 13 years old, I was already in strip clubs. I was already at bars. I was already hanging around with 28-year-olds.
You were desensitized.
Yeah. So where the way I carry myself now has a lot to do with the way I was brought up and the way I was raised in the streets, and also from family wise, the right and wrongs. You always have to know the right and wrongs. I was always taught that respect is earned, it's not given, and a lot of people, if you carry yourself with respect, you will get it back. Like I said, you have to earn it, and to where in the streets, to the way why I'm still living now, it was because of the streets, because I was taught how to survive. I was taught, the right's wrong on the streets perspective, like where not to say, what to say, you know what I mean? Like I said, as well as carry yourself with respect. And to me, it's just that's what it is. It's just the way you present yourself is how you have to keep it in. But with me growing up, the older I get, the more wiser I get, the more I speak more upon what I have been holding inside for years, because it's a whole load off your chest. And being a parent, I want to teach my kids as well to not be scared and to express how you feel. You know what I mean? Don't keep anything inside, because it does get to a lot of people and it'll eat you alive inside, literally. And that's when stress kicks in and all that. And you know what I mean? Just don't worry about it. Yeah, that, you know what I mean? Don't worry about, there's always gonna be someone in this world that don't like you. And the fact is, you don't have to tolerate with that person and move on to, you know what I mean? Surround yourself around with positive energy and positive vibes from, real ones, day ones, you know what I mean? People that are gonna build you and not break you down. And that's, you know what I mean? That's how I grew up as, like I said, that's the way you have to carry yourself.
What about you, man? What do you feel that, you know what I'm saying? Why are you taught? Why, if even that's what, if you were taught that, like, why do you feel like as men we have to internalize things and keep it to ourselves? And they see us act these ways in these streets, and women don't get what they want from us because we're taught to internalize. What is your thoughts on that, man?
He's, I don't want to say Latino, Hispanic. I'm Mexican. I mean, I'm not Mexican enough to say it. I'm not Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and I'm not Mexican enough for the Americans. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause the way I was raised. 'Cause I learned how to speak Spanish till I was 25. And I learned that at my work. And when they say it here, like, oh, you're a Portugal, like I don't have the full like accent. That's a different topic, but what he's talking about being grown up. When my father died when I was 18, passed with cancer. And through the whole time, when my father died, we're at Rose Hills in church. My mom would shed one tear for anybody. For anybody. Later on that night, after we buried him, go home. I go to my mom and lay in her bed, and I sit there and I just fetal position, just cry for hours. My mom cried with me. I thought it was pretty crazy. I said, Mom, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you hurting? She goes, I'm not going to show people how vulnerable I can be and how weak I look. And at the time as a kid, I didn't think it was, I thought it was weird. Like, how are you being weak and showing emotion? My dad, I had the greatest dad in the world. No disrespect to anybody, but I had the best dad in the world. That's just me.
Are you supposed to believe that?
And growing up, my dad was more reserved. He was more reserved, but when he had me, it changed him. My mom said it changed him. He was more, I guess, a better dad. Not to short than my brothers. Maybe that's why I hate him, but I'm his third son, so he learned. You know, he's been around the block for a while.
Right.
And it was just a great thing. So I was never scared to show emotion or anything. Like my brothers, part of the reason I had a bad 20s is because the way I was brought up with my brothers was BS. I was taught to think a certain way. They pick on me. I had to be a certain way with girls. Or if this girl looked this way, oh, why you with them? They would taught me, make me feel bad about what I like.
Right.
And then later years on, the funny thing is that ironic thing is that now I see their wives, I'm cool with them.
Right.
But little kid, who was back in the day? Oh, your wife would look a certain way if they heard what you would talk about.
Right. Okay.
And just not showing the emotion. I've never been scared to show emotion. And my son was a very emotional kid. Partially what he went through between me and his mom, but that's every family, you know?
Yeah.
We're all toxic parents at some point, you know? I mean, I don't think I'm a bad dad. I'm not a bad dad. I might make a few bad decisions. That's what I own up to. But I've never been scared to show emotion. I think we had to hide it because, like, my mom said, oh, his mom, the way they go, too. They look weak. You don't want to, like, take advantage, you know? Someone does, I mean, hey, they do it. Then you learn. You just know to keep away from that person.
And I believe those are traumas. I think those are things that we go through in life.
Trauma's a big word.
Yeah. I think those are traumas.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for mental, you know what I'm saying, like mental stability, or I'm a big, I have a big chip on me when it comes to mental health and when it comes to those things, because I've talked about it before. I deal with a lot of anxiety, and there's different things that traumas that I've been through in my life that this anxiety stems from. And when we talk about when we internalize things, all of the things and a lot of things I've dealt with as a child and as a teenager, even in going into my adulthood, you know, when I moved out of my parents' house, those are a lot of things that I've traumas and things that I've lived through and things that I had to internalize. And unfortunately, a lot of those things come out at the wrong time.
They come out much.
No. They've come out in my marriage. They've come out in my kids. They've come out on just different daily things that you know what I'm saying? The different things that you do. You take what you learn and what you've been through, and you take it out on the people around you and the people. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, does it come out in a great way all the time? No, but having to internalize things, I think that's one of the things that's the opposite thing I would teach my girls and my kids, especially because you have girls. They're a little more emotional than they, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So they don't necessarily, you know, they don't necessarily show that on the outside. They will give me emotion all the time, but at the same time, as an adult, that's not something you want to. You know what I'm saying? You want to continue to just go throughout life and just be stone cold, stone faced.
Oh yeah.
Especially as men, and these boys need to be taught out here, man. Show your feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to get that shit out, because at the end of the day, it's only gonna make you a better person.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel like less of a man because you cry about something. You're actually more of a man if you cry about something than a man who won't cry about his emotions, because you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't feel safe to let that out. He doesn't feel he's in a safe space. He doesn't have a safe place. He doesn't have a safe environment to let those things out.
Be very careful about it.
Yeah. So thank y'all for answering that for me, man.
I'll give one thing to piggyback off this thing. That's what I said. I I'm a big crying. I can't watch anything having to do with the father. So maybe it doesn't have to be anything emotional with the family.
Mhm.
I'll watch it. I'll start crying. Like it hits me because at the time when my dad had died, I had a job. I was working at a supermarket, a real good job. I was a bagger. My dad worked every day of his life. It was hard. I got all that from my dad. Once my dad died, I got my own apartment. That was a good blackout for like 7 years, falling to a deep hole. But besides that, when my dad died that night, he died in front of me and my mom and my other brother. My other two brothers weren't there. So that was as a young kid at the age of 18. I saw my pops take his last breaths. At the time, I looked up at my mom. I thought that was kind of messed up. I didn't want that, but if my dad wanted me there, and then it was work. I would do that for him. I would do it for my son. But long story short, I went to work the next day. I never took a grievance absence from my work. I worked for the next year. I didn't take no. It was like your dad just died. I go, no, I'm doing what I think you want me to. Just go to work, get paid. You still gotta be a man. You're gonna lose me, but you still gotta be a man. That's what he taught me. So I thought I was doing the best thing. That's what really just.
But see, that's what I mean. That's the things that we're taught. We're taught to internalize things. It's not something we naturally develop because you do everything you're taught.
Yeah.
You how you raise your kids is how they gonna be in this world.
Exactly.
So you do everything you're taught. I teach my girls, let it out. If this is something you gotta, you know what I'm saying? My even down to my you know what I'm saying? My 3-year-old, like I teach her, I try to teach her like techniques of like, you got an attitude, you feel a certain type of way, okay, deal with it now. Deal with it now. Tell me what you gotta say. Get what you gotta get out. Do what you gotta do. And then once you put your feelings away, learn how to deal with the problem. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to deal with the problem. But let out what you need to let out right now. Because this one thing is I want you to let out what you need right now versus don't go into the world and do you know what I'm saying? Don't go into the world and you know what I'm saying? Come out at the wrong place at the wrong time. You dig what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those things where it's just you know what I'm saying? It's just
a little rocky.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, man.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, you just kind of have to just. That's something that I think internalizing is something that's taught versus something that we grab later on in life.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
human beings are a range of emotions. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's okay to be emotional. Why? We are
right, exactly. Let's talk about it, man. I know we're kind of getting close to the point where we gotta wrap this thing up, but growing up in high school, in high school and growing up, we were separated. We were separated as far as race wise. Blacks, Mexican, Latinos, we cannot get along in our area. We weren't a community. We were always separate. It was always, blacks and Latinos in one area of my high school. And the crazy part is
what was your high school?
I went to Canyon High School in Anaheim. But the thing is I didn't fit in anywhere. I was one of those guys where I could hang out with anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could hang out with anybody, and I was cool with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't understand the difference between why we couldn't do because again, I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in with hanging out with just black people. I didn't fit in with just hanging out with you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Right. I was cool with everybody. You dig what I'm saying? I was that kind of guy. I was cool with everybody. So why is it that you feel, you know what I'm saying, or if you even don't feel that way, why do you believe that as a community, I feel like we're so much closer than what society tells we're part in? You know what I'm saying? I'll start with you.
Well, meaning both are race.
Right.
It's just the fact is, it just they just for ever since growing up, it's always been like that, like looked at differently, like just because someone once like say someone does something bad and then they're part of my race, it's like they think that all of us are like that. You know what I mean? That okay, and it's been like that for years, and it was like that when I used to go. Well, when I was in high school, for I think it was only 9th grade, and then I dropped out. But anyways, went to Lucerna, and it was like if anybody's been to jail or prison, they know that this is how it is in there. This is how it was there at the school. That it was segregation. There was like there was Mexicans and blacks together. There was whites on the other side. The Asians stuck together, and literally if you were to take a drone over the school during recess or lunch, when everybody's out in the field or whatever, you'll see actual groups.
There was like 4 people, black people at the center at that time.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying though, it's just that, but it's just the fact is too where it's like,
Segregation, 'cause it's a rich school, it's a rich kid's school. Right?
yeah, so it's to the point where the way they were taught and say like their families like racist, or whatever, or the way they're brought up, it's just they are influenced by it, so then they take it in their hands and then it never leaves. If you're not taught differently to accept all people, all race, we're all one, we're all equal, our heart beats as one, then it's the fact that your mentality is still gonna be stupid. Like they're gonna think you're gonna be in that situation all the time where you're gonna look at people, how they discriminate on others. You know what I mean? And they're gonna be like, well, all people are like that. When no, not all of us are the same.
Right.
Just we make bad choices, just like every other race out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just the fact is like he said earlier, I never had a problem with hanging out with any race, especially being in the rap game. You mix in with a lot of race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the fact is,
especially with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know what I mean. Me, just that I was always taught. I was taught differently, not taught differently, but like than others out there. I can't speak for others, but with me, it's to where you accept everybody as one. Like I said before, just we're all human. We all we're all people. It's just that we make mistakes. It's just you shouldn't judge those mistakes as if other people are doing it when they're really not. And just that's
One
what I
apple doesn't ruin the whole bunch. Get him back.
think.
I could dig that, man. I could dig that.
Open up a window, get a little racial.
No,
but I mean, I believe that's one important topic that's never really discussed.
yeah.
As far as again, and I believe music always brings us all back together.
Oh, yeah.
Music. There's two things that bring us together in this world, and I believe it's music and food.
Oh yeah,
That's
sure.
The two things that
Comedy,
bring
I think comedy.
right that can bring the race together. You know what I'm saying? As far as that goes.
If I could sing, I would take away my rap talent. If I could sing, I would totally trade in any of. I'm a jack of all trades, master. And then I would trade all into the ability just to sing, because when you can sing, you can touch people's hearts. You can move mountains with that. You can unite. That's just the beautiful thing that not too many people can do nowadays. I feel that way about hip hop, but I know nowadays they don't want to get deterred. Like just they get deterred when they hear the curse.
Right.
The way it downplays some of the culture gets downplayed, but that's the story. But
I did.
at the end of the day, I mean, the minority is the majority. So I mean, they gotta stop realizing that we're in it together.
Yeah.
Right.
When I first started hanging out with you, my brother Israel said something to me, and it hurt me. He said, "Dad, why I don't want to go hang out with you and Keith? I want to stay with grandma." So why? Don't you want to go have fun? We go to Pizza or stuff like that, right? He was scared because at the time he had barely. My son knows seen a black president first, right? That's a trip, right? So at the time it was going on, there was a lot of Grant Taylors, everything going on with young black guys, and our women being killed. And he thought I was gonna get killed because I was hanging out with you, my boy. Right?
But I mean, that's great though. I mean, that's something that again, that is something that has to be discussed. It has to be talked about.
Because you might not be scared to hang out with the other black kids at school.
Right. Because it's a scary thing, and again, that's something that the world teaches our kids. That's why I believe that we raise our kids versus letting the world raise your kids.
Exactly.
Because your kid is only taught what you teach them. Your kid if your kid is gonna grow up racist, they're not born a racist. They were taught racism. If they were taught that women are meant for the kitchen, that's what they were taught. That's what they're gonna go find. That's what they're gonna go get.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want in their life. So if this is what you teach your children, this is what they're going to have. So if you don't teach your children that all cops are bad, then teach your children that all cops are bad, because not all cops are bad.
Yeah, especially
not all cops are bad. I didn't grow up hating the police.
Oh, no.
I knew growing up to watch out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You dig what I'm saying?
That's
and always watch yourself.
Big difference.
But I didn't grow up being like all police was out to kill me. I didn't believe that. I still don't believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's because exactly it's not a job that I would do.
Yeah.
Hell no. You know what I'm saying?
That same ones with smoke bricks in the house.
Exactly. Who you calling?
So someone went in the house and God forbid they killed or raped your mother.
Exactly. Who you gonna call?
You gonna rally on the street?
Right. No, who you calling?
And
Exactly.
if you're closed minded and you're limited to teaching your kid, they're gonna go look somewhere else and
Absolutely. They're
and
gonna
you-
take it in their
yeah.
own hands and do something
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, like a
Or,
parent.
so you can't be mad at that
Right, right,
because
right.
it will be your own fault if you don't not teach your kids the right
man.
way.
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
I
man, for
appreciate
y'all
you.
Appreciate
man. Two more questions, man. When did you fall in love with hip hop, man?
Around the time I met this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the Planet
I am it.
Planet Asia days. Shout out Planet Asia. Like I said, Chino Excel. This was when
Who
he
else?
this is when he had his 45s.
Who else?
This is
Ooh,
at the time. This is at the time.
45?
At the time, and his techniques. I'm not saying that he doesn't like it now, but you know, this was back in like the Project Blodian days. This was Leimert Park every Thursdays, going to ciphering type part.
He's on the heavyweight champion. He's
Oh,
on the cover.
oh yeah, he's in the back. If you guys look at the back cover, you can see
Heavyweight round 7. I was right on the bottom cover.
you can see a 7 foot ass in the back.
I was a lot heavier, not as handsome, so like.
Sally tall. Yeah, but
Seagull neck.
yeah. So I would say about that was like what 1999 2000
That was late 90s.
late 90s. So that's when I got into it, and like I said before, it's just that that's when I'm passionate about hip hop still, but
I met you, was bumping the ground.
but I was really passionate back in the days about hip hop. Like I said, it was to where like when he would teach me and he would show me like you know what I mean, new artists that come out. It's just to when I learned that he wouldn't, if it's worth saving in his playlist and his phone, then it's worth listening to.
But
You know what I mean?
also, at the end of the day, it take 2 minutes out of your day to hear something.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like it and you just make or do you get it? Nah, dude, it didn't take much for me to take 2 seconds out of my day to hear your stuff.
The worst you can say is
Right. At the end of the day, it was good today. You got a fan. I mean,
Right.
you know, it's not hard listening to music. Don't let it turn you to what other people say.
But when did you fall in love with hip hop?
When I was younger, I was always about to kick in comment. I was like, time, right? Throw some brown sugar and maybe we need apple. Anyway, well, I honestly, I actually had to think about the first moment. Oh man, it's crazy. My dad at the time, when we used to have the swap, we used to go. My dad bought me a little mini boombox, double tape deck one, and it's just in the air when they got rid of the shiny knobs. I was playing like Sony. He bought me that, but I had no tapes, right? My mom was against me listening to anything hip hop because she hated it. My mom was total Karen before Karen was found back in the day. Total ghetto snob, right? Bro, I'm telling you, my boy, I'm not joking. Bro,
Oh my god!
I think I was like 18 when I first got a pair of baggy pants. I got the baggy pants on my own. My mom did not want to buy that shit. My mom was taking me to get my pants in.
Oh my god!
those back in the middle outpost and Acre Blue.
Yeah, that's a whole other
I didn't
era.
know what solos were till they were on clearance.
No, he was the one. He was the one be rocking the Target Unco jeans, the rollerblade jeans.
Hey, it's all good. I'm not you're the one that roller skate, but I mean, I fell in love with my dad. Wanted to swap me, and that was right at the time. I didn't know this. You know, check out Trex. Trex is a vicious MC.
Oh yeah.
And then Naughty by Nature just came out with OPP. Oh, sorry. Naughty by Nature just came out with OPP. My dad bought me that tape. And I bumped the living. Oh, yeah. And I heard the instrumental. That's when I got in. I was like, oh, you know what? Let me try.
Yeah.
Let me try. I started playing because it's all whack. After that, my dad bought me the Chronic 2000, the Chronic album.
Alright.
My dad didn't care. My dad loved me. That's what I love music. My dad and my freshman English teacher. But my dad always said, like, if you like it, listen to it. He didn't see anything wrong with it. He felt I was old enough and smart enough
Right.
to dissect it and what I wanted from it, and
Right.
not, be so easily influenced. But my mom found out when I had that tape. I remember I got my report card and I had 1D. My mom found that tape right in front of me. She threw it in the trash. And time she had it being in smoke. She put the real life.
Pulled the Karen.
Real life forever. They put the fucking cigarette on it and then it burned out. I was like, I was so mad, like a young kid, you know, like you
Oh,
want to swing,
shit.
you can't, like,
True.
and next week, my dad went to swap me and came home. I'm with him. Came home, went in my room. The little tape was there for me. He put it up there, mom.
Damn.
That's cool.
That's cool game. Well, last question, man. 3. Okay, so you got one show to put on. Absolutely. You got one show. You got 3 artists. Dead or alive. You can bring anybody back. Who's your 3 artists?
Russ, Logic, and the old Chino Excel.
Okay. Oh, that's Atlanta, I ain't gonna lie to you.
I guess the old Chino, the new Chino's,
His opinion, not mine.
You've been in the game for so long, you go whack. I don't know what it is. I mean, he'd probably murder me or whatever. I mean, I feel like I'm home anyways. Dead or Alive was the point. I had to be. You know which Michael I'm going with.
Go ahead.
You know, which one we're going? We're going with Remember the Time.
Dead or
Michael.
Alive?
Remember the Time, Michael. Biggie. And if I had to throw a curveball in it, the curveball with me would honestly be. Oh man, Stevie Nicks. Another Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, hell of a concert right there. You got three different kind of audiences there.
Damn, what happened to your J. Cole? I was waiting for J. I was honestly waiting for J. Cole.
I'm not having a concert here kill me on my own show, man. I'm not gonna watch him.
Well, thank y'all for joining me today, man. Mine, I thought I gave you mine. I said, okay, so mine, I might have three different genres here too. I'm gonna have Queen.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Pac, and I'm gonna have Wayne. Those are my three.
Which Wayne though? Like early like.
Mixtape Weezy all day.
Are you talking about Cash Money?
No.
Hot Boys? Weezy?
We're talking about DJ Drama. Mixtape Weezy.
Okay.
We're talking about
Okay.
them years. Well, thank y'all for joining me today, man. Thank you to my guest that came on. Ray,
Always a pleasure.
Thoughts, Phil, aka Philly Blunts, man. Appreciate y'all, man,
you,
for
dog.
coming through, lay your brothers, man. Once again, man, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining me today.